Hey everybody, it's just me coming at you with another Wonderlands build video. This is another melee ability damage build. This one is a little bit more unique than most of my builds. This is a Sporewarden black collar melee build. But before we get into the details, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed to my YouTube, and if you haven't, please go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and thank you so much for everything you are doing for me. With that, let's get into it.
Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly, I can fly, I can fly, yeah. I can fly. I'm crawling around, searching for higher ground. Can't see in front of me, my enemies. I've tried every possibility, ability to know if I can bleed. If that's what you wanted, you won't get it tonight. 'Cause I can fly,
So starting off in the weapons and gear, we have the live wire. This is a melee build, so you want to be holding the live wire when you melee so you can get that increased melee damage. I use the delusion to apply the soaked effect to the bosses before I melee them. The weapon I was using in all of the hits in this build video was the Wailing Banshee. I enjoy the Wailing Banshee. It's by far the strongest melee weapon in the game, damage-wise amounts, and you're always going to want to run Echo. Now this build is a little bit more unique than your normal melee builds. This is actually a build that takes ability damage and turns it into melee damage. So since we're taking ability damage and turning it into melee, I have two ability damage rings. These are the exact same rings. No, I did not copy them. I had it give me two of them back to back, the exact same ones. But you just want two ability damage rings is all you're looking for here. But I am still running the Cursed Wit with melee damage increase, so increases to melee damage is still good for this build because we do melee damage, but increases to ability damage also give melee damage. The reason that is because the game was gracious enough to give me this paradigm. This paradigm, what it's doing is it's taking all my ability damage increases and it's turning it into spell and melee damage. The spell damage is not as important, but the melee damage is what we're focusing on there. But what really makes this build hit so hard is the paradigm needs to have 3 out of 3 into Wrath of Nature. Wrath of Nature is in the Sporewarden tree. It is a very strong skill. And it's whenever you deal ability damage, the enemy takes increased damage. The increased damage is 60%. That's a lot of increased damage. And since we have 3 out of 3 on the paradigm here, and it's a spell and melee increased by ability, that's how we're pushing so much melee damage with no melee damage increases. Next up, I'm using the Ascended Buffmaster. You want it to be cryo. It has to be cryo, and it needs to be Ka-Chow and Bonk. Ka-Chow is 80% ability crit chance and 80% ability damage increase. That ability damage increase then goes right into the paradigm to give us melee damage increase. The Buffmaster also has Bonk. Bonk is 80% melee damage increase, so that's just a base melee increase. The reason that it has to be cryo is because we're still running the Blightcaller tree, and in the Blightcaller tree there's Frostbite. Frostbite is melee damage increase when you apply Frost status effect. So you have to activate your Buffmaster, shoot the enemy with your gun, it will apply the Frost status effect, and then you melee them. The necklace I was using was the Urge. I used the Urge because it takes a very long time to get Plague Storm back. This Urge has Frost damage and Berserker damage. I'm not getting any of the Berserker power increase, but I am getting the Frost damage increase since we're running Frost Buffmaster and Frost Welling Banshee. But really, the important thing about the necklace is the all damage dealt roll. That's what you're going to want to look for. If you don't have an Urge, you don't have to run the Urge. That's just what I run. All you're really looking for is all damage dealt. Then over in the skill tree, starting off in the Sporewarden tree, I've got 5 out of 5 in the Bounty of the Hunt. This is just going to give me my action skill back quicker. I went 2 out of 5 in the Eagle Eye. This was just to get down the tree. I went 5 out of 5 in the Bullseye. This was also just to get down the tree. We're not really worried about gun damage because we don't do much gun damage, and we mainly are just focusing ability and melee. But I had to be able to get down the tree to get to play the angles somehow, and those seemed like the best. Same thing with Spore Cloud. This was mainly just to get down the tree. But I went 5 out of 5 into Affinity. That's for ability damage increase. This is a 54% ability damage increase, which then just goes straight into the paradigm to give us melee damage increase. I run Medicinal Mushroom mainly because you obviously want to run Medicinal Mushroom if you ever run in Sporewarden. It's just perfect. You get down, your mushroom can come revive you. I went 3 out of 3 into Windrunner. This was mainly just for movement speed, nothing else. And then you want to go 3 out of 3 into Wrath of Nature. Wrath of Nature is a very, very strong skill. And then final one is Play the Angles on. And then over here in the Blightcaller tree, I'm running 5 out of 5 into Status Effect, Chance, and Duration. This is just so we can apply the Cryo status effect faster and have a higher chance to apply it. I went 4 out of 5 into Geist in the Shell, 5 out of 5 into Poison Damage. These are mainly just to get down the tree. 1 out of 1 into Bog Down. This is just good to have because Geist in the Shell can activate it whenever you're mobbing. But the real reason we're in the Blightcaller tree is to get down to Frostbite and go 3 out of 3 to get that melee damage increase. And then in our hero stats, I'm running max strength, max dexterity, and the rest into attunement. Attunement's mainly just so we can get our Plague Storm back. Then over in the myth rank, I just wanted to show off my melee damage so that way y'all don't think that I have a whole lot of melee damage increases. As you see, I have 0 in the melee damage. But I do have 20 out of 20 into swing speed, 20 out of 20 into crit chance, and 12 out of 20 into crit damage. But yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you so much.